In this video, we'll discuss tips on how to let go of a situation and live peacefully without resentment. Psychologists explain how resentment can be destructive, often quoting Cassie Combden, "Resentment is a poison that we drink in the hope that someone else will be poisoned." This quote highlights the reality that when we feel offended, we may want the other person to feel bad. But it's usually only ourselves who suffer. The other person may not even be aware of our feelings, and we end up carrying the pain of resentment within us. If we feel that we are being treated unfairly or that an agreement is being violated, we can easily become offended. Frequently, we ascribe qualities to people in our minds that they may not possess in reality. In other words, we have expectations for how a person should behave, speak, or act without expressing it directly to them. Feelings of resentment may also stem from not having clear personal boundaries and not knowing how we should be treated. This kind of boundary is often referred to as vague. We assume that the other person should be aware that their actions or words are inappropriate, but it may be normal communication for them. When we become offended, we may use it as a tool to manipulate people to behave in a certain way that suits us. Although it may seem strange, this type of manipulation frequently begins during childhood, as kids learn that being offended is one way to get what they want. The dynamic of taking offense and manipulating others can be described as follows. When we feel offended, the other person may begin to feel guilty and uncomfortable, and ultimately give in to our desires. Frequently, we hold resentment towards important authority figures in our lives, such as our mother, but we may not even recognize it. This resentment from childhood may be projected onto other people and situations later in life. This can manifest in feeling offended by circumstances that remind us of moments from our past, such as not receiving recognition or praise. To stop feeling offended, it's important to acknowledge that nobody is obligated to do anything for us unless there's a prior agreement. If someone's behavior towards us seems unpleasant, it's better to express our feelings directly to them. By doing so, we set a boundary and make it clear that we won't tolerate being treated in that way. It's also important to communicate our expectations to others because they can't read our minds. We need to express our desires and wants clearly to avoid any misunderstandings that may lead to resentment. Assume the role of an adult in dealing with offenses. Instead of using offense as a tool to manipulate people, consider how you can achieve your goals in a constructive way. Communicate your needs directly to the person you are dealing with, such as asking them to come over and give you a hug. Locate the person who has caused you distress, compose a forgiveness letter, and if desired, read it to them. You can also arrange a meeting to discuss and air out any complaints you may have. When we hold on to grudges, they tend to fester and grow over time. Eventually, we may find ourselves becoming offended by even minor things in our daily lives. However, if we don't communicate our thoughts and emotions and instead keep them bottled up inside, the resentment can begin to take root in our bodies. Unexpressed emotions remain within us, which can lead to psychosomatic diseases. Resentment has a profound effect on the quality of our lives. If we release our expectations of others, life becomes simpler, more comfortable, and more peaceful. Watch more interesting videos about psychology and how to solve various complex issues on our channel. Subscribe, like, and comment on this video.